Hello you plonkers and welcome back today to another video on the Drewzy channel. You know what it is, we're back with a big banger. 9 things we learnt from round 8. I believe it's round 8, isn't it? Yes, because the Dockers are 7-1. Let's go. I set the goal of 7k by the end of May, and we've hit it, lads. Give yourselves a round of applause. Welcome to all the new plonkers who have jumped on board. But keep moving, otherwise you'll be shot, as the saying goes. So I'm going to set a new goal, 7.5k by the end of June. 50% of the people, roughly, that watch my videos still aren't subscribed. If you haven't subscribed and you watch my videos, that's just not fair, alright? So subscribe and join the Plonker Army. Follow my Instagram @_Drewzy to make sure you know when I post my videos and see what I get up to. But let's get on with this week's episode. Number 1. Port are still alive. To be embarrassed in this fixture twice last year, namely that prelim last year where they got their pants pulled down and got exposed as pretenders with their backs on the wall, 2 wins. You know, how much can you read into those against West Coast and St Kilda? Hard to read into. They show up Friday night at home to get a vengeance on themselves from last year, revenge on the Bulldogs, and they showed up, controlled the game for 4 quarters. Big win for the Port boys. Shows that there is still life in this season. There is still points to fight for. They could potentially make a top 8 push at this rate. Number 2, Fremantle's list depth. Fremantle's list depth, nice, is very good. Meek, Lobb, Akers, Frederick, Collier, Logue go out. Chapman, Young, Amiss, Henry, Darcy, Banfield come in. COVID, schmovid, as the Docker boys like to say. We've got all these players in our Waffle affiliate side, Peel Thunder, absolutely tearing it up. They're AFL quality, knocking on the door of the Dockers, saying, hello, let me in. I want to play AFL football because I have the quality to do so. And they just can't get let in because we are playing very good football at the AFL level. So these players are having to bust a gut to get in. Competition for spots is healthy, which is just a good environment to be a part of. The Dockers' lisp depth is very good. Number 3, the Tigers of old could be back. After their pumping of West Coast, I couldn't really read into how good the Tigers were. You know, they're playing a side that's about as competitive as Ben Simmons. To show up at the MCG against Collingwood, who are an informed side, won 2 of their last games at the MCG, the Pies, they showed up and showed them who Daddy is. Said, don't you forget, Collingwood, we have been the better side for the last few years. As the Collingwood coach put it, Collingwood are 8 dates in. Richmond are married with kids. 3 kids, to be exact. With Dusty back into the side now, with Lynch at the top of the Coleman medal race, even though he's missing sitters every single week, you can just see the Tigers start to get going. They sit 8th on the ladder at the moment. They could really solidify themselves in that top 8 and have one last go at the flag. Number 4. Gold Coast are Sydney's bogey side. Lots of sides have a bogey side. We are definitely Geelong's bogey side. We seem to get over Geelong for whatever reason. I'm struggling to think of other examples off the top of my head at the moment. But Gold Coast have beaten Sydney 4 out of their last 6 meetings. Gold Coast have been a very underwhelming side over the last few years. And you just would have expected Sydney to win this game. They're a better football side. They compete with better sides usually. But, you know, when it's a head-to-head clash, 18 versus 18, Gold Coast are up for it. They're ready to go. And Gold Coast, they've been competing well in the last few weeks. You know, they had Collingwood last week at the G. Tough game. They competed well at times, but Collingwood were too good on the day. The week before they had Brisbane. Again, they fought hard, but just couldn't get the result. So after all the grind and fight that they've put in for the last few weeks, good on Gold Coast. They got a win in round 8. 3 wins for the season now. Good on you, Gold Coast. Have a smile on your dial for once in a while. Number 5. GWS can get in the bin. I've had enough of GWS. Just get out. I'm sick of you. Leave. Go on. Out the door. Do you want me to take you to the door? I'll show you out. There you go. Off you go. Peace off. Like, they showed up last week against Adelaide. Massive win. And it's like, oh yeah, the potential that they have that we know and we've seen for years that can probably push for a premiership, but doesn't. They're here. They're at the Adelaide Oval. They gave a big win. All right, let's go back home and play against Geelong at home. And all you hear is crickets. Nothing. No life in this team. Get their pants pulled down at home by the Cats. Can you hear anything? No fans. No fight from the players. Put a line for them. I'm sick of them. They should be winning every week with the quality they have. Who are the Giants? Who are they? I'm sick of them. Get in the bin. I'm done with yous. Number 6. Essendon fight back. I used a boxing analogy to describe Essendon's current situation last week on the Drew Footy Show, and I described them as a fighter up on the ropes, just getting fed to the body, fed to the head, can't do much, and then they eat a front kick to the face, if we're talking in UFC terms, like Tony Ferguson did today against Michael Chandler. Basically, they are getting slapped around the joint and not throwing anything back. Let's continue with his boxing analogy this week, because against the Hawks, they weren't ahead for the first 3 quarters very much. They were just sort of behind their jab. They're staying in the fight, behind their jab, chuck a jab out. There's nothing really on there, but they'll get a goal back here and there. There's another one. All right, we might get hit with a jab cross or a jab left hook here and there, but just get behind your jab and stay in the fight. Their cardio in the end of the fight, they're still bopping and weaving, and they're behind their jab, and all of a sudden, they throw a 1-2 left hook, and the crowd's up on their feet at Marvel. The place is going bonkers. They throw a jab slip rip, and it's all going crazy. And they showed a lot of fight. Big fight back for the Bombers this week. The media will be off their back for at least 1 week. The vibe seems to still be good inside the 4 walls of the club, as Dyson Heppel said post-game. So raise your hands, Essendon. You could be back. Number 7. It takes 2 to tango. It takes 2 sides to bring both their game styles to a game of football, to mix and mould like a lock and key, just like a neurotransmitter entering a synaptic terminal. But given the wet conditions to go along with West Coast's poor style of play, it was just a crap game of football. There was just no connection there, and Brisbane almost had to stoop down to the level of West Coast. I thought this was going to be an absolute pumping, but the heavens above opened up to save West Coast from absolute embarrassment. Bit of a wet conditioned game, only made them lose by 12 goals. If it was dry, probably would have been about 25 goals, but that could be this week against Melbourne anyway. Takes 2 to tango, and West Coast didn't bring their dancing shoes. Number 8. Poor Sammy Weid. After watching Caden McDonald's Spotify original podcast Goes Alright, available on Spotify exclusively with special guest Sam Wiedemann last week, I just got a soft spot for the fella. I was just like, he's a good bloke, real nice fella. He should be playing every week just based on how good of a fella he is. He's competing for the same spot as Tom McDonald, who played his 200th game, and I was massively impressed with him. 2 big goals, and he's working around the ground well. Very impressive. And then you got Ben Brown, the most reliable key forward a man could wish for. 3 goals, 2 goals for Tommy Mack, good round the ground. How does Sammy Weid fit into this side? It's just so hard. And everyone loves Sammy Weid, but it's like, what do you do? Can you just chuck him in on the back pocket or something just so we can get in there? Maybe have him run some water just so he's out on the field. That's the only thing I thought when I was watching this game. Poor Sammy Weid. And number 9, Carlton are still up there. After a bit of a lame 4 weeks, after losing to Gold Coast, almost choking a lead against Port, and then losing to Freo, the arrogance sort of simmered a little bit at Carlton. But after beating 2 bottom feeders in the Adelaide Crows and North Melbourne, it has shot right back up, and the arrogance is almost as high as the historical 3-game winning streak they had at the start of this year. It's well noted that I'm not huge on Carlton due to past events that have happened between my club and theirs. That's my club, by the way. We don't speak about Man United anymore, so I'll just continue my point with the Dockers scarf. But Carlton, big win against the Crows. Curnow, Mackay, 9 goals between them, humming up forward, and Paddy Cripps continues his career best form with 35 touches and 2 goals. Big win for the Blues, and you just see them sort of sneaking into that top end of the outside of the top 4, between 6th and 4th-ish, 5th-ish. I reckon that's where they'll finish. The Blues are still here. And that's going to wrap up today's 9 things we learned. But before you go, make sure you like the video. Make sure you like the video before you go, and then you can click off. Did you like it? Now you have. Cheers. Thank you very much. Helps with the algorithm. It's good for your cholesterol. I appreciate you watching. Comment down below what you learnt this round in the AFL. Subscribe if you're new. Keep an eye out on the channel for the Drew Footy Show tomorrow. And take care. I'll see you next time. You plonkers.